You're listening to Simple Roots Radio, episode number 84, and today we're talking about one tool that has been so critical in my healing journey, and I know it can help you too, and that's the sauna.
Welcome to Simple Roots Radio with Alexa Shern. Alexa believes that simplicity in life is the key to achieving true and lasting health. And now your host, Alexa Shern.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Alexa, and as always, this is the place to get healthy, live happy, and find joy. And today, we're digging deeper into health, specifically a tool that was so critical in my own healing journey and something that I still use consistently today because I've just learned the power of it, the value of it, and how good it can make me feel. And that's the sauna. Yes, today we're digging into the sauna, the different types of saunas, how often you should sauna, if kids can, and even getting into light therapy. This is a topic that's so interesting to me, something I learned so much about as I've gone through my journey of healing from mold, Lyme disease, and really just getting my body and my energy back to normal functioning. So today on the show, I have expert Connie Zach on, and she's the co-owner and chief sales officer of Sunlighten. They started this business because they saw a need for saunas and specifically knew the technology that was out there that could be even more powerful than what you typically think of a sauna as those steam saunas. So this is different. We're talking more about the infrared saunas and what they can do and why there's such a bigger impact with this specific type of sauna over other types, and just at the end of the day, what the value of a sauna is. So today I'm going to be asking her, again, the difference in types of saunas, what does light therapy have to do with this, and how specifically is a sauna acting on the body to help heal our bodies. So today we're going to get into all that with Connie, and I, again, am so excited for today's show. I have so many questions, and I think this is going to leave you wanting your very own sauna. Speaking of saunas, now I know this is a tool that does not come cheap necessarily, but here's the thing. There are tons of places anymore that offer sauna sessions, whether it's a package at your gym, chiropractic office. I've even seen massage studios and salons that have saunas. So there's lots of different places that do have saunas available for your use. And I think that is so great to get a package or, to consistently try to do that because there is so many healing benefits to it. But if you're looking for your own sauna, right, because there's nothing like the convenience of taking a sauna in your own home, I really do recommend Sunlighten saunas. And I'm going to link up of how to get in contact with Sunlighten in the show notes. I've done a lot of research on different types of saunas, and I really just promote them. I'm not being sponsored by Sunlighten here, but I am telling you that I love their products, and I really think that there's a huge value to them. So that's why I'm bringing it up today, that if you want a sauna for your own home, if you're looking for that, if you have the funds to do that, I so recommend it, especially getting in the number of sessions that they find is really valuable for your health of 3 to 4 times a week. Plus, it just feels so good. So again, if you want more information on the type of sauna I recommend, Sunlighten saunas, head to the show notes at simplerootswellness.com/084 to learn more and to get a little special discount that they're giving you today. So yes, you get a little gift if you purchase a sauna. And like I said, it's definitely something to look into, save your money for, ask for a gift from. Mother's Day is like right around the corner. Is that too much to ask? Okay, maybe. But it definitely is worth the cost of the value of it. So again, head to the show notes to learn more about that. But for now, let's get right to the show so we can dig into what a sauna is. And at the end, I'll talk a little bit more about my experience with sauna and why I love it so much. So here's Connie.
Welcome to the show. I'm so excited for today's topic. It's been near and dear to my own healing journey, and I can't wait to dig in more and really learn from you, the expert in this field. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you're owner of Sunlighten Saunas, and this sauna company, Sunlighten, is something that I could rave about for so long, really, because like I mentioned, it's been such a critical aspect in my own healing journey and healing from mold and lymphatic issues and even Lyme disease. And so I just want to know and dig into more of the science behind this technology that you've created and how it works in the body. But before we get there, I want to know your story. Like, you haven't always worked in the field of saunas and creating Sunlighten. Before that, you worked for Procter & Gamble. Is that correct?
That is correct, in the corporate world.
Right. How did you make that transition into this, and what was the foundation for that?
Yeah. So it's a very personal story and a just incredible journey when I think back. my brother was really sick, and he used a version of the technology that we use today to heal himself from heavy metal toxicity, chronic fatigue, and vertigo. Mm-hmm. And at that point, we didn't know what was causing his illness, but his dentist said, I've heard that potentially there's a wavelength of light that can penetrate and help the body remove toxic elements, because his dentist felt that he had leaked some mercury from his fillings into his body, and maybe that was something that was causing his illness. And he did some research and bought a product, an infrared at that time, one of the only far infrared products on the market. And it took him a long time, but it did eventually make a difference in his body. And I saw that firsthand. I was living in St. Louis, and he was living in St. Louis, and I watched him heal himself naturally from just going in there and sweating out the junk that was trapped inside his body. And I am, my personal character is a huge skeptic. Once I believe in something, and then I put my heart and soul into it, but it's hard for me to believe something. I have to see it for myself or experience it. And so I really probably would never believe this if I hadn't seen it for myself and watched the transformation in my brother and how he went from, he was really kind of green. Mm-hmm. He really looked, he didn't look good. He couldn't get out of bed. And so I was working at P&G, and I loved my career. In my heart, I really wanted to do something where I felt I left a footprint, on the world, and helped the world be somewhat different and changed for the better. And when I saw this transformation in him, and he said he wanted to get it out to the community, I helped him on the side, just as far as consulting, and that's really where it all started. And then eventually, a couple years later, joined forces and decided to work on the science and work on the efficiency of the product and better understand how it worked and all of that. And I left P&G. For a while, I did both jobs because this is brand new. I didn't know anything about it. But then eventually I left and never looked back.
Yeah, that's such a cool story, just to see, like you said, that personal transformation of someone so close to you. And there are a lot of skeptics out there about saunas. And let's just take a step back, because there are a lot of different kinds of saunas. And so I want to know some of the science behind what you learned during this process and why Sunlighten has the technology that it does.
So our mission when I joined was to really put some science behind what I was reading. There was a lot of just claims that I was reading, but I didn't understand. I didn't see, when I would try and dig in to find the reference for those claims, I didn't get anywhere. So I took it upon myself. I was on the scientific side, on the pharmaceutical side at P&G, so I had a lot of background in research and development and how to do studies. And so the University of Missouri, Kansas City did a study with our product in 2005, and it was a really robust study. It was double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized. There's no way anybody could figure out which product was the real one and which one was a fake one. It was our product against generic far infrared, to see if there was any difference. And that's when we uncovered that there was a huge difference between ours technology and just a generic far infrared wavelength. We showed a statistical significant difference in lowering blood pressure. We showed removal of arsenic. We showed a difference in quality of life scores. People expressed a decrease in inflammation. And there were people that lost weight as well. And then we also started doing research on raising your core temperature. And we just went on, a several-year stint of scientific journey to figure out what does our product do and how does it do it, and how can we continue to refine and develop the most effective product out there. And also, Alexa, it was really important. You should know it's so important to us while we're doing this was to keep the cost in a place where people could afford it, because if my mission is to help leave the world a healthier place, but yet I'm charging people $50,000 to do that,
right.
It doesn't. That's not achieving it. It's unrealistic. And so that was really, it's in our mission statement still today to have the most effective, most innovative products at an affordable price that people, can have access to it.
Right. And I love the study that you brought up, because it really does show the power in this and what sunlight and saunas can do. Like I said, I've seen it in my own journey, but can you dig into more of like your specific technology and what these different light therapies, like their power on the body? Because I think like when we get into light therapy, I feel like it's just kind of this, a lot of people have an unknown about it and how powerful light can be.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And I mean, I am continuing to learn and be impressed by the different types of infrared and how you can really precisely focus them and target the body. So backing up, we started the journey with mastering the far infrared wavelength, and that one is the longest wavelength. And basically what makes Sunlighten special is we've filtered out all of the energy in that category that's not healing. So what I call convectional heat, just the hot air that you receive on a daily basis, or like through a traditional sauna, as far as a rock sauna or a steam sauna, that kind of feeling of hot air. We filtered that out and just focused on almost 100% of the right quality of far infrared that transforms the cells, because it gets deeply into the body and increases your core temperature. And that's where you start to see that transformation. And there's a tipping point in each wavelength where it goes from being, a light energy to transformative. And that's what we have spent so much time and energy on, and we've mastered with each different one. There's a far, there's a mid, and there's a near. And we have some products that just have the far, because that's the one that has the core temperature increase and the lowering of blood pressure. And it's great for people like yourself who suffered from mold toxicity. If you have a toxic overload condition, there's benefits to mid and near as well. But if you're just looking for the greatest value, that far infrared wavelength from Sunlighten has mastered that. And then the mid and the near provide other scientific benefits, such as a decrease in inflammation at different parts of the body. So the mid really focuses on the joints and the tissues and increases your mobility and your flexibility and your agility. So it's great for as you age, or even just in muscle recovery, or after a run or after exercise, you feel tight and stiff. That's a great wavelength to help loosen that up and give you your normal state back. And then the near, which is available by LEDs, it's an invisible light. So there's no heat at all and there's no light at all. It's just LEDs. And those are extremely powerful at helping with inflammation, helping at cell health, decreasing the size of a wound, helping with scars, fine lines, and wrinkles. So it's a very powerful wavelength as well. And then we have some of our units that combine all three of those light therapies in one place.
Okay, so not all of the...
a lot.
Right, yeah, no, it's great. So like when we look at these lights specifically acting on our cells, like what is the mechanism for healing in that? Like how... Like they're penetrating through the body to get inside the cells, or does it have to do with like the temperature change, or both?
So the temperature change, what we have done at Sunlighten is brought the temperature, the surface temperature, not the air. The air doesn't matter at all. It's about how is that energy, how is that being released at the source, okay? And so that's what we have done. And so when it's being released at the source, depending on which level it is, it's being released at the optimal depth for the body that to change the water molecules in your cells. So for example, let's just talk about the FAR for a second, the deepest one that's great for detoxing. So it's going into your body and getting you that increase in core temperature, essentially giving you a fever without disease, right? So it's the same type of, that feeling when you break a fever and you feel lighter. So you're releasing all of that junk that's in your body, and your sweat in a Sunlighten is a different type of sweat than it is in anything else. And you feel lighter, you feel more energy, you feel like, oh, this like burden has been released. And so what I always like to say that's different in a Sunlighten than like in a generic infrared or even a traditional steam is when I'm finished, I feel more powerful, I feel more energetic, I feel brighter, I feel clearer. Versus if I'm taking in, there's nothing wrong with steam. I don't want to knock it because I will use a steam sauna when like I'm on a resort and I enjoy that feeling. I do feel drained when I'm finished. Like I just feel like, zapped. My skin feels good because I like that dewy feeling on my skin. But I don't feel as recharged and refreshed, and as clear in my head as I do when I get out of a Sunlighten unit.
Right. And just to help sort through my confusion, like a steam sauna is not necessarily penetrating like the infrared because it's really just acting on temperature. Exactly.
So you're getting hot. So it's hot air, and your body is getting. The reason you're sweating is because the air is hot. So your body's reacting to that. In a Sunlighten, the air is going to be much cooler because the surface temperature of the heater is much lower. And it's lower so that specific wavelength can get into the body. Hot convection, if you think of waves, the hotter they get, the shorter and the choppier they are. And so it's really hard for them to penetrate and to get anywhere. So they just stay there. That's why sometimes it feels like if you're in a hot environment, it feels oppressive. It's hard to breathe because it's all congested in one area. And so we're allowing that wonderful energy to get into the body and to work on the body from the inside out versus just being on the outside and you sweating water because the air is hot. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. That totally makes sense because, well, it makes sense for me because I feel the difference. Like like you said, there's a noticeable difference between a steam sauna and a Sunlighten sauna. And it's funny because my husband, who hasn't had any kind of health issue, so to say, when he gets in it too, like he was always kind of like the skeptic of it. Like he did it because I'm the health one. And I like all that stuff. And he just goes along with it. But he literally loves it because he's like, I just feel so fresh when I come out of it. That's what he says. And I'm like, it's so true. It just lightens you in a weird sense where the steam sauna is almost like it almost adds moisture to you where this one removes that. And I agree that the sweating, I think this is so fascinating because people think that when they sweat, it's all the same, but it is not. And so what's the difference between like exercise sweat and sweating in a sauna, which sauna sweat is really clean sweat?
Yes. And the texture is different and the size of the sweat, like what do you call them? The sweat molecules, the sweat beads, the size of them in a Sunlighten unit is larger than in exercise sweat. I haven't analyzed everybody, full disclosure, but on my body and my husband's body and people that I have looked at, like that is a clear difference. And then also and this is going to get a little gross, so just stay with me for a second, but like the texture and the feel, and if somebody is like a smoker or if somebody like a firefighter has had access to oils and like major toxins, you're gonna really quickly see that and smell that. which is different than an exercise sweat.
Okay, when I say I had mold sensitivity and we had this mold issue that was stemming from our washing machine, so it was in my clothes, I could smell it after I got out of the sauna. Like you could smell it in your sweat, which I, like you said, I couldn't when I exercised, but it's noticeable that it has, it can carry that smell. So when we talk about why the sweat is different, really on the inside, a lot of people go back to like the detoxification of the cells and can you give us any science or background on that? And is that true? Like that the sauna is not only helping the cell health, but it's helping to rid itself of toxins? Or is that, like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so there's like Dr. Klinghardt did a study a long time ago on the measuring the quality of the sweat and versus with just measuring the quality of the sweat with using our product versus just using like regular sweat, and noticed a significant increase in toxin removal versus just water. But then more recently, there's a doctor here locally that always tells me what he's doing. He's a mold specialist, and he will measure their urine, and he's done sweat as well before and after. And what I find really fascinating is, first of all, the easy conclusion is like there will be a decrease in biotoxins specifically related to mold after using our product. But what I find interesting is that there are some things that are pulled out that didn't show up on some of the preliminary tests. So it's really interesting about how, some of the stuff we don't even know, as far as the transformation, it's removing things that definitely are probably causing like some of the sickness and some of like the mold toxicity, but aren't part of that biotoxin panel. But yet it's still removing them. It's really, I just think that's fascinating. Yeah. I don't know if it makes sense, but it's basically removing stuff that they weren't even trying to remove, and that they didn't even know was there in the first place, which is great. It's like in our study at the UMKC, there's somebody that we didn't know she had high levels of arsenic in her body, right, until she came in and was part of the study. And can you imagine? She was freaked out.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Oh my God. And then after using our product, she was completely gone. It's just amazing to me. Yeah, it is. So there's lots of data on that. There's lots of data on mercury and lead and some of the what do they call the substances, like the oxycodone and some of the abusive substances. So it's a very powerful, like you said originally, light therapy. And especially when you combine all three, it becomes a very, very powerful, because you're working on the body in a major holistic level, because you're penetrating the body at three different areas of light. And so you're really not leaving anything to chance. You're covering the entire body.
Right. And not only that, like you said, this is an energy source. And so when you're sitting in the sauna, it can be it fills your body up. Like so many tasks that we do throughout the day require energy taken from us, like stealing energy from us. Well, this is one of those things that really allows our body to be filled back up with energy. And is that specifically coming from the light source?
I believe that it's coming because you're making your body lighter, So you're getting these powerful levels of energy in. You're removing some of the stuff that's in there that needs to be released, that really, in some ways, it's hard to release in any other way, unless you're doing unless you have the most amazing clean diet possible. And even then, like some of the heavy metals or some of the fish that people eat, which I love fish, but some of them, can have some high levels of mercury. And once you get that into your body, it's hard to get it out by just a normal diet and nutrition.
Right. Okay. So I kind of want to talk about, who is this for? Like, Who do you see Sunlight and Saunas benefiting the most? Granted, I mean, we could say they're for everyone, but really, like, if someone is thinking about this, like, what do you recommend to someone?
Well, our mission, so we'll get to that, is to be for those individuals who want to be proactive about their health. So we really want to connect with the people who want to take like a personal stance on their health and well-being and say, you know what, like I'm going to arm myself with the wellness tools that I know can keep me healthy and pain-free and and improve my quality of life and have, enjoy their life. A lot of people deal with, headaches and fatigue and things, and they just deal with it. They just have become accustomed to it. And our mission is to have people improve their quality of life and to live a healthier life. So it's really that the number one is the proactive, the proactive person to take a preventative stance. But of course, then there's, the huge amount of people who have come, like yourself, who have come in contact, with some type of disease like mold or heavy metals or Lyme, or different types of conditions that have caused them harm, and we can help them. But I mean, eventually we'd love to get to the place in this world where it's all preventative and people are, really taking and being proactive about their wellness.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I know that there's some talk that, or I don't want to say this is controversial. Some people think it's controversial. I am for it, but kids in saunas, I feel like my kids have found a lot of benefit from sitting in saunas. Now, I think the controversy came from just straight steam saunas that use sheer temperature. But your Sunlight and saunas are different, and kids are really a great or a prime candidate for sauna use, correct?
Correct. My kids, I have a 8 and 10-year-old, and they, in fact, my son was just down there with me a couple nights ago, and they love it. Yeah, it's very gentle. It is not oppressive, and so the experience is wonderful. And the thing I love about kids is like their level of intuition and their level of being in tune with their body is still so real and so raw that they know right away if something is, it's too hot, or it's, doesn't feel good. And so they react intuitively. And every kid, back when we first started our company, we did a lot of work with autism. And we still do, but I just remember being at a conference and all these kids coming into our product, and they just would be still. And the parents would just bawl. And, they're like, this is the stillest my kids have been. Like, this is amazing. Like, and, back then I didn't really understand, why, but I think it's just that calming, almost like this just swaddling blanket around you, but in a very gentle way, and that kids really respond to. And they know when to get out. Right. Like, they're not, if they get too hot, they step out. So the general rule of thumb, because everybody asks for a guiding principle on how long a kid should stay in, the general rule of thumb is 1 minute per age. So if you're a 10-year-old, then 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb because it kind of lays the foundation. Sometimes, I don't know if this is good or not, but I'll leave the door open so they can sit in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a penetration thing. It's not like steam. And I think so many people have this notion of like steam saunas have been around for so long that we just think that that's how a sauna works. But this is new technology. And it's not, like you said, it's not necessarily all about just raising the temperature inside the sauna to extreme temperatures anymore. And so I feel like my kids are finding a ton of benefit from it, especially like when I feel like they're coming down from something or, just energy. So, okay.
Yeah. Now I do that, as soon as my kids, I feel like they're coming down with something, like I get them in there, or Another example is my 10-year-old had knee pain from, I don't know if he just kind of pulled it or twisted, just one of those kind of strange things. And he's a swimmer. And so he wanted to fix it. So he went down there and he's like, Mom, he's like, this is amazing. Like he feels, like he was in there and he put his knee, we have those, near infrared LEDs, and you can put your knee right up next to it.
Oh.
Or any part of the body. And so he put it right up next to it and noticed a big difference. So, yeah. And it doesn't take you don't need it for 30 minutes. I mean, he was in there for, 10 minutes and he felt great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about, we've talked about timing in kids, and one other question that I have is, and this is something I'm always kind of going back and forth on, how often should you sit in a sauna? Like, is there a max number per week, or is it kind of like based on how you feel? Like, I'm always kind of going back and forth on this.
That's a great question. How often do you do it?
I found personally, for me, I like 3-4 times. That makes me feel ideal. Anything less than that, I feel like I almost start craving it.
Yes. Yeah, my body does that too. I crave it. Yeah, 3 to 4 times I think is great. It's, if you don't have any other cardiovascular activity in your, for example, I remember a customer, again, back when we first started, who was overweight, and she it was really a struggle for her to go up and down the stairs, and she bought our product and she started using it. She started losing weight. And, but before that, she couldn't do any cardiovascular activity because she was just, her joints would hurt. And so it wasn't until she started to lose the weight then she was able to do that. And she would do it. My point was she would do it every day, but she wasn't getting anything else, in her life. For me, if I do intense cardiovascular activity, that's enough for my body in a day. Like I try, and the reason 3 to 4 works for me is, I'll go for a run on Monday, and then I may sauna Monday night, like to have it spread out, but I would use my sauna on Tuesday, and I would just do it like intense cardiovascular activity on the opposite day that I would use my Sunlighten, unless I was in pain, I needed some muscle recovery.
Yeah. That's how I do it too. I always kind of stagger it off of my other activity, because I found that I think in my own body and just like the health issues that I've had is like, if I do a lot of activity one day or I get some treatment done, like my body can almost overprocess things. And so I do less time in the sauna on those days, just so I don't train wreck my body. And not saying that happens, but it's really all the effects of everything else. Like my body just needs a little bit more space and time to heal than most people. I'm just super sensitive. So I think you kind of figure out that judgment. But this is really interesting. I heard of this new workout program because I love the fact that you brought it up, and that it's maybe not a replacement for movement, but it definitely it helps move, right? Like it increases your blood flow and your lymphatic system and all of this stuff. So people who maybe can't work out to the fullest. But it was really interesting. It's like, I feel like it was like 10 minutes on some kind of cardio equipment, whether it's like an elliptical or a spin bike. And then they did a vibration plate for 20 minutes. And then they did 30 minutes in a sauna.
Oh, wow.
They were having like, remarkable changes, and like the calorie burn of that. And I'm not a calories person, but like compared to someone just doing intense cardio all the time, like they were trying to say, like this is allowing your body the cardiovascular improvements, but it's also de-stressing your body at the same time, which is so opposite of what we think about in exercise today of move, more, push, which is a huge stress on so many people's bodies, right? Not saying I'm against exercise, but over-exercising is definitely a huge strain, especially when we look at hormonal health and autoimmunity and all these things. And so they really developed this new program, and I couldn't even tell you what it's called, but it's like basically just like 10 minutes of cardio, whatever that looks like, the vibration plate to get the lymphatic fluid moving, and then the sauna session. And I started doing, because I have a vibration plate and a sauna, it is crazy how good I feel. Like, awesome. in replace of just intense workouts. But I know I used to be an extreme I used to do extreme exercise and workouts. I used to own a gym. And that was a huge stress on my body. And so it goes to show, like what I'm trying to get is that the sauna has great power. It's not just it's not just a relaxation tool, although it can be that, but it's doing remarkable things in so many different facets of health. And I think that's what's so cool about it is that it's multi-purpose. Like that's what I say. Like it's a multi-purpose tool, and it just makes you feel good.
Right. And I think the one thing that we should mention, or I should mention, speaking of that, is in our 3-in-1 unit, the brand name is called Impulse, and we has all 3 wavelengths of light therapies we've talked about. There's 6 different programs that you can use, and to your point, those programs provide completely 6 different experiences. So if you're looking for a weight loss experience where you feel like it's just focused on caloric burn, then we have a weight loss program. We have one of my favorites is our anti-aging program. I do a lot of stretching in there because it's really focusing on blending the near and the far together, so you don't get as much of the mid, which mid is a little bit of a hotter experience. And I like it because it makes my skin like just plump and feel moist, but not moist from the heat, right? Just moist from the light therapies, which is a different feeling. And it's just a great program. And so my point of the stretching is I can do a lot of stretching and not feel like I'm going to pass out.
Right.
Right. Because it's a cooler experience, cooler in the temperature. Then there's also a cardio program that's really a very intense, active program for the heart that helps to keep the heart healthy. And then we also have a detox and a pain relief. That's one I used a lot when I was doing some intense cardiovascular training. And then we have just a general relaxation. But each one of those gives you a different experience. So it's really kind of fun because if everybody in their workout routine or wellness routine or whatever, you can get into ruts and you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And it's nice because you can go in there and say, you know what, I've been doing the pain relief program. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do the anti-aging. And you get this, like, all of a sudden, this brand new experience. And it's the same machine. It's very cool.
Right. Yeah. That's what's so cool about when you get into the light therapies is that you really have, and I'm learning so much from you, like the power to change what you're working on. So cool. Okay. So one last question. If someone goes to Sunlighten, there's a lot of different saunas that you offer. How does someone begin? Like if someone's like, okay, I'm new to saunas or I have this going on, like I get a little confused sometimes. I know what I have and I love it, but like outside of that, like recommending, like how do you make that recommendation? Like if someone were to go.
Yeah. So we always like to be able to talk to people just because we, as I said at the beginning, like we're in this to make everybody as healthy as possible. And not everybody needs all 3 light therapies. And so I encourage people to give us a call, or to send us an email and have us, or send us a text. I mean, just to connect with Sunlighten, with our amazing team. We have a wonderful, passionate wellness team here that really does want to make a difference, and they're driven to help people. And so that's the number one thing, because it's really overwhelming and it's confusing. And if you get on the internet and you start doing searches, oh my goodness, like you'll read so many different things, and it's overwhelming. I call it analysis paralysis. All of a sudden you're just done. You do nothing. You know. And so I would say to contact us in one way, either phone, text, email at Sunlighten, and then connect that way and let us help you and let us guide you to the right product that's for you.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I did. Like your staff is beyond excellent at helping to guide you. So if you get on there and you don't exactly know what you're looking for, like you said, just give them a call, right? Because that's what you recommend for everyone.
Right. And our website, sunlighten.com, our toll-free, the master number is 877-292-0020. And then it gives you a menu to, press different extension for whether you're looking for residential or commercial or have specific needs. And then if somebody when it had specific questions, and this podcast has been very helpful for them and they would love to connect with me directly, I'd be more than happy to answer any of their questions. My email is czak, Z-A-C-K, at sunlighten.com. And I'm more than happy to help. So feel free to email me and I can connect you with somebody that specializes here at Sunlighten in mold or in heavy metal toxicity or chronic fatigue or in, fibromyalgia or just different types of conditions. We have a team of experts, and so I can direct them to the right place if they would like that.
And the cool thing about this, something that I've loved, is that it's healing right here at home. Like, I don't have to go to a practitioner's office. Like, I don't have to buy a membership somewhere. Like, I can just do it at the ease and convenience, and I'm more apt to do it, rather than having to travel somewhere. So it's super cool. Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm going to give all that information in the show notes. So if you didn't have a chance to write that down, head on over to the show notes at simplerootswellness.com to get all the information on contacting Sunlighten, learning more about them. I'll have it all there for you. And really quick, before we go, Connie, I have one more little thing that I do with everyone, and it's quick fire questions. And so just really quick, a few questions to answer, and then we'll jump off of here. But the first question is, what's the one thing you do every morning for your health?
Drink hot water with lemon.
Yes. Yes. Isn't that such a huge thing and so simple? I love that you say that, because I talk about that all the time and people are like, really? Like, it's the little things that make a huge difference. Great.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. What's your favorite health book?
Favorite health book? I love Whole30, the Whole30 cookbook. I love any book that's about like clean eating. I love Dr. Amy Myers has written a wonderful book about autoimmune disease. I love any Dr. Mark Hyman book. So is that enough?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, what's one food you couldn't live without?
Chips and salsa.
I love it.
I know it's not healthy eating, but like that, I don't know how you feel about this, so you can chime in. But the thing that's my feel good food, and I do my best to find gluten-free chips and homemade salsa, but there's just, I don't know, there's something about those two things together where I feel like I'm on vacation.
I love it. Yeah. I think it's all about, people say the word balance and moderation all the time, but really at the end of the day, my motto is we have to learn to live with our health rather than live for our health. And I think it's all just, finding something that works for you and doing that for the rest of your life. So I love that you said that. Okay. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Follow your gut.
Yeah. It's generally not wrong, right?
And that to me, whenever I've steered away from it, or I don't listen to it, is when I get into trouble. If I stay true to how I'm feeling in my gut, it's always right.
Yes. So good. Okay. Last question. What is the best piece of advice you can leave us with?
So follow your gut, be authentic and be real. I think there's just so many people trying to, do things for different reasons. And if you just share, like you said at the beginning, that was so beautiful when you said share your story. Like everybody has a story, right? Everybody has their own personal mission. And I think the more that people be authentic about that and not try and put on airs and just be real about what they're trying to do or what they need, ask for help. My goodness, like women could take a page from that book. That's the hardest thing for me as a mom. It's so hard for me to ask for help. But sometimes I need to be real and say, you know what, I can't be at all three events right now. And I need some help. So
yeah, such good advice. I think it's all something that we could learn from and use. Connie, I thank you so much for being on here and sharing so much information about the Sunlighten products and really your story behind it. Honestly, I've learned so much, and I know so many people have, and so I really appreciate this.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure to have this conversation. It's really such a joy, and you're doing such a great thing. Keep doing what you're doing. And it's just so important that people need a place to be able to connect, and you're connecting so many people out there and providing them such great wellness advice. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Saunas really do have such a huge impact. And like I said, my own journey with the sauna is that my body is just lacking energy. And one of the things our body needs to heal is energy, right? It needs enough energy not to just survive, but enough energy to thrive and kickstart that immune system and fight off whatever our body is contracting. So I know we automatically like to go to just killing the source of whatever it is. And I think that's great. But there's also this place of we have to back up our body with enough energy to actually do that and do it well. So it's not about killing whatever you're trying to kill or getting rid of, detoxifying, whatever's making your body sluggish and your hormones out of whack or causing cancer or whatever it is. It's really coming in and providing the energy so that your body can go in and do it itself, so that it can go in and take care of it, kill it, get rid of it, and no longer have to deal with it. And that's what the sauna has been to me. It's been an energy boost when I couldn't find another source. So not only that, it's obviously cleaning up my cells and doing all the things like Connie talked about today, which was so fascinating. But the sauna has been something that my body has really loved and taken to. And like I mentioned on the show, when I was healing from my mold, it was so interesting to me that when I would get out of the sauna, I could literally smell the mold coming out of my pores. It was so bizarre. And I've since then seen healing in that I don't notice that anymore. So that's pretty cool. But for me personally, I try to use the sauna at least 2 times a week right now, once minimum, and up to 3 to 4 times depending on how I'm feeling. I also do put my kids in it. And like I said, I just really have found a value in it. Now we have like a little co-sauna, so we share the sauna with my family. So if that's an option for you to kind of split the cost and share it with different family and friends, that's a pretty cool way to do that and share the love of it. Like I mentioned, this probably makes you want to get your own sauna, and I don't blame you because there's nothing like on a cold night or just in a night in general, if your muscles are feeling fatigued or you've had a long day, it is so relaxing just to sit in the sauna and read a book. It's such a good time for you to just heal and rejuvenate. So again, the brand that I recommend, and like I said, I'm not sponsored by them, but it's Sunlighten. And I've done a lot of research into different saunas, and I just really find that this is one of the best companies with the best technology that there is within saunas. So again, Sunlighten, you can learn all about it in the show notes at simplerootswellness.com. And if you're interested in getting your own sauna, make sure you mention my name because they are going to give you a free gift with your sauna purchase. So again, to learn more about saunas, more about Connie, and just more about the benefits of sauna sessions at home, and if you can't have it at home, how you can find a good sauna at your gym or at the salon that you can use and see these same benefits, head on over to the show notes at simplerootswellness.com/084. Again, that's simplerootswellness.com/084. Also, while you're there, make sure you sign up for my newsletter because I have so many free handouts coming to you soon. I have a brand new hormonal tip guide coming to you. I have mindset guides coming out this summer. There's just so much free stuff that you're going to get by signing up for my email list as well as meal plans. So you really can't go wrong. So while you're at the show notes, just make sure you leave your email address and I'll make sure and send you something free that is of value to you and your health journey. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow me at Alexa Sherm on Instagram and Simple Roots Wellness over on Facebook. Like I said, I have so many good things coming out your way, and I just want to connect with you and find a place and a space that we can communicate and that I can help you on your health journey, and I can give the information that you need to do so. So again, I hope you follow along. I thank you so much for being here. Make sure you check out the show notes. Also, if you have time, leave that rating and review. They mean the world to me. They make the show go round. It's super quick and super simple. You can leave a rating and review by going to simplerootswellness.com/review. And while you're there, hit subscribe because I don't always get the show notes done right away. But if you hit subscribe to Simple Roots Radio, then you get the podcast as soon as I upload them to iTunes or wherever you're listening. So again, just hit subscribe, leave a rating and review, and stay tuned because coming up on Friday, I have a special bonus episode on my 5 hormonal rules you have to live by. And next week, we're talking all about detox. So stay tuned. It's going to be so good, and I'll see you then.